lift heavy, sleep, and repeat. We call that our life cycle, made a shirt about it, and it rings true with who we are as a podcast and a group. We are fortunate enough to have partnered with a company who can help us achieve one of those three key elements: Som Sleep. They have a keto-friendly version of their delicious sleep aid drink, and we're loving it. It's a lightly flavored 8-ounce anti-energy drink. You drink it roughly 30 minutes before you're ready to go to sleep, and you'll feel it help you into a deep, restful, all-night sleep. It provides some helpful elements to do so, including magnesium, GABA, and melatonin. When combined, you have a powerful tool for getting the impactful sleep that you and I so frequently don't get in our technology-driven, fast-paced lives. You can find it at some retail stores, but you can also purchase it online and get it shipped to your door. When you do, use discount code TKMC10 and you'll not only be getting 10% off, but you'll be helping support the Keto Man's Club. You can find the link to their website by going to theketomansclub.com. We're thankful to Som for partnering with us, and we hope you'll benefit from use of their product the way we have so far.
Hello and welcome to the Keto Man's Club podcast.
We're glad you're here, where each week we talk about men's health and lifestyle.
We do so with the foundation of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle.
If you don't know what keto is, stick around and you'll find out.
The podcast will bring you real, honest fun.
Each week we strive to uncover the tips and tricks that you can use in your everyday life to maximize your overall health.
Find the clearest path to becoming the best version of yourself that you were meant to be. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts, and as always, I'm joined this week by Jim and Alberto. How's it going, Jim?
It is good, sir. It's been a ride for all of us. It feels like over the last week. That may be an understatement, but
yeah.
We'll just leave that alone for right now. How are you holding up?
Doing pretty well. We got some flack from our neighbors to the north for our comments about the winter weather that we get down here in Austin, and then sure enough, we get actual snow, like that's sticking around, and there's snowmen all over the place today. And
I built a 5-footer.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's been kind of fun to get to see all of that. But yeah, we're having to actually put up with real cold and the white stuff. And my dogs were like, "What the heck is this?" And BB even she's a retriever of the two, and she would catch the snowball and then she'd chomp down and eat it. Yep. So, and so it's been kind of fun to get to see what's going on with all of that as it is. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good. So, Berto, you built the snowman today. What else is going on with you?
Snowmen today. Took full advantage with the kids and snowball fights, and we don't have a sled, so obviously that didn't happen. But built a snowman, went in the front yard, built another snowman, came back in the backyard, built another snowman. So it was good. I mean, other than that, just about a second ago, I went to lean back in my chair, not realizing that this is the chair that doesn't have a back. So we almost had a very loud surprise noise there for a second there, but I was luckily nothing happened. I caught my balance.
Yay for core stability.
I told you guys I didn't want a video this week, and that would have been the perfect video for the show.
All of a sudden, you would have just seen my head disappear and my feet.
I had an exercise ball I was using as a chair pop on me in the middle of a team meeting. Yeah.
How do you recover from that?
You don't. Luckily, I was off camera at that moment, and I'm pretty certain that my mic was muted. Nobody said anything, but it had my mic not been muted, they would have been going, "Okay, why were those 4-letter words being uttered?"
Oh.
Yeah, it was not.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Oh my
Let's
gosh.
say the only thing better than that is and I posted it a while back, but it was like a year and a half ago or something. When I was at the gym and I was using the TRX bands to do chin-up bars or to do chin-up bars to do chin-ups, and I was recording it, and I was using like little hammer strength pegs like for the pull-up, and I just threw the TRX band over there, and I started rocking out pull-ups, and it slipped off.
Yeah, I remember the video of that.
Yeah. Almost doing a backward somersault, and the chick behind me was dying laughing. So the only thing that makes that story better is that it has been recorded.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that was a much needed laugh there, Chris. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No problem. Here to help.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas is come and gone. Since then, I'm much more content to have a real chair anymore. But I do have my standing desk, so that helps to be able to sit and stand and that stuff. So yeah, let's talk about what's going on, or what we're going to talk about a little today. We don't have a guest for this week, and largely that's just due to the fact that we did have someone scheduled and there was some conflicts that came up last minute. But this gives us a great opportunity for us to kind of collect ourselves a little bit. We're going to talk about kind of retrospectively what we're thinking about in the 2020 year and how it's affected us as a group and as a podcast and all of that. And then we're going to look forward a little bit towards, we're going to assess where we are, and then look forward to 2021 and talk about some of the things that we're excited for, that we've got kind of brewing, as it were, right now to come into some new life of stuff. So that's going to be really cool. The other thing that we should do real quickly before we get into all of that is take care of some of our basic housekeeping stuff. So if you want to connect with us as a podcast, we've made it pretty easy for you to do so. You can go to theketomansclub.com and you can access links to any of the websites that whether it be the Facebook pages, Facebook groups, the Instagram feeds, pretty much whatever you need. The links are there for that. You can also connect with us a couple other ways, including email, ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can text or leave a voicemail at 512-518-6161. We'd love to hear from you. We love connecting with our listeners in every way that we can. So feel free to reach out to any of the many ways that you can reach out. Berto, you said that you had some business to cover too?
Yeah, I just wanted to, we've heard the commercial in the beginning about Som Sleep. And I've been cautiously approaching their products only because I tend to react to these things like more than an average person would. And so just recently I started playing with like drinking half a can and seeing what would happen, because my biggest concern with, the puppy and the 3 kids is if I drink something that really puts me out and then, one of the kids wakes up screaming for whatever reason and I don't hear him. Mm-hmm. My wife is there, but it's always good to have both parents here. So I just started messing with a little bit, started with quarter can, went up to half can. I haven't drank more than a half can, but stuff works as advertised. And as a bonus to me, if the pup wakes up or the kid wakes up, I have no problem waking up to tend to him, let the puppy out. Noah, he's almost 2 years old. He's sleeping in a big boy bed now. So when he makes noise at night, it's not the same as when he was in the crib. Now we got to be concerned he didn't fall out of bed. So yeah, it's kind of nice to know that stuff allows me to wake up, let the dog out, take care of Noah, see if he fell out of bed, put him back in bed, and then go right back and lay back down and fall back asleep almost instantly.
Yeah.
And for that reason alone, it's been glorious.
Yeah. Yeah, I would add to that I've been using it some lately, and I've been finding that if I take it, I'm actually able to wake up after only 6 or 7 hours of sleep and actually feel completely rested. Really and truthfully, like I'm it's kind of crazy. So I know that I've had issues lately where I'll get off of work at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, go try to lay down, spend time with my wife a little bit there at the very tail end of the day, wind down, go to sleep. and aim to get up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, meaning something in the neighborhood of between 6 and 7 hours of sleep, which for me normally is okay. And it just hasn't been lately. And if I drink a Somm, 6 or 7 hours, I wake up on my own before my alarms generally. And so that's a sign that I'm getting true restful sleep. So yeah, it's really pretty cool product to be able to use that. And it's more than just melatonin. It's the GABA, it's the magnesium, it's a combo of everything in their blend of it that makes it as effective as it is.
Yeah, and on top of that, like I had, obviously we talked about I've recently started jujitsu, and when I was first trying to figure out how to balance weightlifting and jujitsu, I was doing it quite horribly. So, like, obviously, when you're grappling, you're legitimately fighting. Like that's pretty much what you're doing. And I was having a problem to where, like, when I would try to go to bed at night, like I was still so wound up and almost like caught in this flight or fight that I couldn't sleep. Like I'd go to fall asleep and I'd wake up like, almost like you're like your body was in shock. Like I was remembering that fight. My brain was just like, no, that was real. We need to stay awake and stay alert. Mm-hmm. And so I was having problems sleeping for about a week. And so that's when I started leaning into that stuff. And now between doing a better balancing act between recovery, weightlifting, and jujitsu, and then being able to incorporate a little of the Somm to help out with the sleep, yeah, things are on a much smoother path now.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Jim, anything to add to that? I know you've been using it some.
I have, and it's definitely made a difference. I will say that last week was kind of my first week of not having anything extensive to do at night. And I don't think I'm that old at 45 years of age, but I guess I am middle-aged now and trying to hold off on all that. Well, this just comes at that age and blah, blah, blah. But there were a few nights last week that I went to bed at like 8:15, 8:30. And granted, and I think I've shared it here on the podcast, I know you guys know, but I had about 3 weeks in December of 2 staff members being quarantined for COVID. So my normal 40-ish hour week went to about 50 to 55, trying to get things or maintain things and stay caught up and whatnot. Then you add in the holidays, you add in just a lot of stuff. And it's like, I need to do this. Mm-hmm. And it has definitely helped. I know you can't catch up on sleep. It's not possible to do so, but it's definitely going to bed and getting a few extra hours over the last week or so has definitely helped things a lot. So if you're one of those people that is like, I'm tired all the time, maybe you just need to distance yourself from all the drama in the world, which I'm not even going down that road tonight. Just distance yourself from it. Put your phone away when you go home. Don't worry about email. Don't worry about text. Mm-hmm. If you want to listen to full sounds, you can tune into the Keto Man's Club. No, I'm not going to go do that. But I mean, seriously, just relax and step away from it. And you would be surprised how wired we are with all the tech gear in the world and everything, that stepping away from it can actually help us relax, help us sleep, help us feel better. So that's my two.
No, that's absolutely true. And that's why I put that in the ad whenever I was, writing up the ad copy for the recording on that. We really do. There's a physiological thing that happens when we're in front of the screens as much as we are. And especially me, I'm morning till night in front of some type of screen. That's kind of comes with the territory whenever you work in tech in general, but especially as an editor on top of being in tech, it kind of, it gets even worse. But yeah, these supplements, like Somm, they can come alongside and they really can help us at least get back on track, which is what it is that I hope that it can allow me to. So yeah, very cool. Very cool. We are just a reminder for our listeners. Somm is graciously partnering with us in that they do have an affiliate link. It's on our website, theketomansclub.com, and you can use TKMC10 as your discount code. You're going to get 10% off, and we'll get a small percentage back contributed towards the podcast because you used our affiliate link. So if you are interested, please use that because it supports us, and we want to continue to be able to create and continue to improve. If you haven't, by the time that you hear this, you will have seen our first video well, and not our first, but one of the first new video podcast formats that we're going to be trying out some and whatnot, because we've got some new online services to be able to take advantage of that, and we want to continue to improve. But there's at least small investments that need to go along with that, and the three of us and nobody else connected is especially Rich, so we probably could use the any assistance, and that's what the merch sales have been doing. That's what the everything else. So hopefully our listeners have seen that improvement and are appreciating it. Let's dig into shout outs, and then we'll go from there. Berto, let's start with you.
Mine's easy. Member Matthew Walter actually was the first person, and I completely forgot that this book came out, posted a picture of Gary Taubes' new book, The Case for Keto. And I mean, I'm in the middle of reading 2 books simultaneously now, so I probably don't need to add a third. So I'm definitely going to have to add that to the back of the list.
Yep. That's a good one. I've heard some reviews on it so far, and as is common with Taubes' work, it sounds like it's definitely worth the read and full of good information. Jim?
My shout out is to one of our newer members. His name's Jason Boulay, and he celebrated his 2nd year Ketoversary at the start of January. In 731 days, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman has lost 238 pounds.
I'm clapping. It's going to make Chris angry, but I'm clapping.
He went from a size 6 to 7 XL shirt to an XL. He is off almost all of his meds. My only regret on this photo and the story is that I don't really have a great shot of him today, so to speak. He put 3 pictures up, one with his a pair of pants that he used to wear that he's basically standing outside one leg. We need to get him into that one leg in, that photos that we did a while back. And then he's got this shirt that reminds me of when we were all 6 years old and we throw on our dad's, largest coat or sport coat or whatever, and it just like hangs on us, and it's just night and day difference. So big shout out to Mr. Jason Boulay for knocking it out of the park big time over the last 2 years.
Yep, absolutely. Those are pretty remarkable pictures, and they speak for themselves, but the statistics going along with them are just as impactful. So that's really cool. I am shouting out Bruce Martin, one of our UK members in the main group, and he posted a bit of information here saying that this time last year I was 206 pounds, 93 kilograms, with a BMI of 29, nearly obese. Due to unhealthy lifestyle, bad habits, and slow metabolism. This week I ran a half marathon. I am 168 pounds, 76 kilograms, with a BMI of 24. That's thanks to keto, intermittent fasting, 16x8, running and spin classes, family support, and inspiration from groups like the Keto Man's Club. He posted several pics with some statistics of his scale, both the weight and the BMI, and he's definitely leveled out and put himself right into a really healthy place to be. And it looks like he's getting lots of activity in, and it's just really cool to see that once again, when you set a plan and you stick to it, you work it as best as you can, you'll see the results that you aim for. So it's really cool stuff, and always great to see a member over in the UK and in Liverpool in this case, doing good stuff. We don't always hear from them. They're kind of quiet. We've got quite a few people that are from Europe or from the UK, but they're kind of quiet in comparison to all of us loud Americans.
Hey, we got a bad reputation in the world right now. Anyways.
Yeah.
Feel free to edit it out later.
No, it's no. We can leave it. Just
what you got to do is extend those for like 40 seconds.
For context, we are recording this early January.
But not too early.
Just early enough. So there's things going on in the world that we're just not going to get into right now.
Like snow in Texas.
Yeah, like snow in Texas. There we go. Like that. Let's any other business to attend to before we dive into kind of our very short, very rough bullet points of objectives for our chat today?
We could just go on as if we were going to have a guest and just ask questions that will never get answered.
All right, I like that. So tell me how you feel about that.
Yeah.
And silence.
It'll be worth the wait. Once we get them on, it'll be worth the wait.
Yeah.
We'll be all right.
Well, so we did want to do a little bit of some retrospective thought on 2020, reflecting on
no more 2020.
Well, the good things. There's the good things. There are good things that came out of the year, and so I would say that one of those good things, from my observation, is the continued locking in and growing and improving our podcast, our listenership. By the time this airs, our downloads will probably be 50,000, right?
Right around there. We're close.
Yeah, that's pretty good for being, let's see, what are we?
We're less than 2 years.
We're less than 2 years, and this is episode 87 is what this is. So that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and the way I always look at it too is like, for a podcast that was made specifically for a very small group of people.
Oh yeah, we've got a very targeted audience in that regard. It's not like we have some far-reaching thing. Keto is a little larger than some of the other podcasts that I'm involved with. They have even smaller focus to them, and they get smaller listenership, but they it is still we are still pretty genre specific, and between being keto and men related and things like that. So I would say that the accomplishment of 50,000 downloads roughly is very, very good, and something to be really proud of amongst ourselves, as well as to the community that has come around us with the podcast that was there, but I think it's just gotten stronger. Jim, what's been your take on the health of now the two groups, because we launched 101 during 2020? What's your take on the health of everything?
I think that we've got a solid. Well, I shouldn't say think. I know we have a solid group of men from across the globe, especially in our main group, the Keto Man's Club, that as we did a poll a couple days back that kind of talked about the feelings of social media and whatnot. And, a lot of them come to Facebook anymore because of our group. They're coming in, they're skipping over all the other drama in the world, so to speak, to get in and post pictures, get recipes, tell us what's going on in their lives, get encouragement, all kinds of things. So I think just like this podcast itself, our groups have a very little niche in the social media world, and we're kind of in this little protective bubble that once we get through all the craziness going on and get into the group itself, it's like, I'm home and I can hang out with my buddies and talk and share and laugh and all of that. 2020 sucked I don't know anybody that really loved last year by a long shot. And so it was it became a safe haven for a lot of people, I think. I don't know of anybody that just totally excelled and soared last year in terms of keto and everything. I mean, I'm sure there's the Danny Vegas of the world and whatnot who really did. But, a lot of our guys are just the regular guys who are working 40, 50 hours a week, and they're family men and just all of that other stuff. And so it's definitely a challenge to stay targeted when you're thinking about work and your kids and their schooling and all these other things. So, and nobody's gotten beaten up in our group because they've struggled and stumbled. Lord knows I have. And kind of when I talked about with you guys, I'm trying to regroup on this carnivore thing for January and whatnot. And so I would say that our health as the group for the groups has been pretty darn solid for the last year. It's what social media should be. It's a good spot to be, and I'm just very, very grateful that we've got, between the two groups, the podcast followers and everything. I mean, we're closing in on, probably close to 4,500, 5,000 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty remarkable, as you guys said a moment ago, for this little niche of what we do. So yeah. I'm okay with all of it.
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting that you mentioned Danny Vega, winning and all that type of stuff. And something that we just posted their first podcast of the year. And they had a really great conversation with the writer of Unbreakable, Tom Shea, and a really great interview. But Danny kind of flat out said, yeah, 2020 got me depressed, like legit depressed for the first time in my life. I didn't even know what was going on until Maura kind of helped me put two and two together. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is what that's like. So it's really, even the people that you see out there that might be quote unquote winning right now, this has been a hard year for all of us. I think, all of us have dealt with some level of, whether it be depression or anxiety or just stress. And so it's really, really important. And by the time this comes out, Mighty John Oakes' second episode will have aired, and we talk at pretty good detail about how important it is to try to take the self-assessment, and then also for us to check in on each other. Berto, I know that you're really good at this, whether you claim to be or not. I know that you are. Talk just a little bit about what that's been like with you.
What exactly? We covered a lot here in the last.
Oh, sorry. Checking in with other men and making sure that we're, that we're doing okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, I try to reach out. A lot of people reach out to me, and I always respond. But I try to reach out at random to see how people are doing, just because I mean, sometimes that's all it takes. Like you said, we went. I'm not gonna give all the spoiler alerts on John's episode. It's gonna drop here in a day or two. But we talked about it there. Like it just. Sometimes the littlest things, the littlest gestures go a long way, and it's just enough to keep someone moving on when they otherwise would have been stuck. So to me, it's just, kind of doing what I do and just trying to make sure everyone's okay. But, you never know how it's perceived on the other end.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, I'm just going to add that this weekend, I had a buddy of mine, his father passed away from COVID. And then my buddy is his next door neighbor who we went to high school with, who's a few years older than us. He had his fourth heart attack earlier less than a week ago, and he passed away this morning. 50 years old, couple of kids. I mean, hardworking dad involved in all his kids' or activities and whatnot. And so this whole checking in thing, I do think that may be one of the better things that has come out of the last year, is how we have been behind screens so much because of quarantining, staying at home, kids doing remote education, all that other stuff, that checking in is kind of returning almost in the form of an actual phone call or the porch visit where somebody drives over and you guys talk, from the front porch to the driveway and things like that. And I've noticed it a lot with guys as well. And I say that because men typically aren't the touchy-feely, hug each other. It's not that. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but it's just a more conscious thing, I think, of knowing that we're all dealing with this just big black cloud. And anytime you see a little bit of sunlight peeking through, you just latch onto it and kind of roll.
Absolutely. I think I actually did kind of mention this in our conversation with John, and I went back and I kind of revisited it. For those that are getting burned out from the endless feed, there are some browser extensions that you can get that will actually block the main feed on Facebook. And so I've actually just enabled that today, and I can still get into my groups. I can still manually bring up a specific person's feed, but my main news feed, the endless scroll till you die thing that just has nothing on it. It has some type of inspirational quote on it. So I think for those of us feeling burned out from the social thing, something like that, it will help us not get trapped in the endless scroll, because I literally I'm ADD. We know this about me, but I'm ADD enough to the point where I can be like, okay, I need to bring up Chrome so that I can get to my Gmail account, so I can get to this email, respond to this, or get this piece of information so I can finish this. But then it comes up on my Facebook feed and I see something, oh, shiny, and then I'm stuck into the endless loop and all of that. So now I can kind of be a little more targeted. I can only look at the things that I get notifications about, which I'd have more control over. And I don't have this endless, shiny experience that Facebook has done such a wonderful job at, calculating and creating for us. So just some food for thought in that regard, to help those that are feeling overwhelmed. I'm also very much thinking that I need to take the Facebook app off my phone, and just use it on my iPad or computer, and then alternately be able to do the same with Instagram if I can get my messaging working to where I can use Messenger, Instagram, as well as Facebook. So kind of limiting and refining and trying to limit how much raw consumption that we take in, so that we're not quite so fatigued all the time. That's an important thing.
Well, you could also everybody could go to theketomansclub.com and the link is right there, courtesy of Chris and his awesome technical skills, that takes you right to the Facebook group. So you can just skip all the other junk. Just go to our website, then go to the Facebook group, and then, hey, you're done. Absolutely. Or if you want to go to the 101 beginners group, it's there too. You skip all the other drama and, let's share this 463 times and you might get a gift card to your favorite restaurant. No, you don't. It's very easy.
Absolutely. So any other landmarks or things that we want to call out from 22? Any important memories that we need to kind of recall back and celebrate?
I think
you went way deep on us here, bud.
Yeah,
I know. It's like, what do you remember for last year?
Yeah. I remember my house. A lot of my house.
I learned I really enjoy my things when I'm forced to stick around them against my will.
I remember that time Alberto didn't have a shirt on.
Oh yeah, I had one on today. I'll tell you.
I would say that you've got, what did you say, Chris? We're coming up on like episode 87 or something like that with this one. So if you need inspiration for the year 2020, just go back and look at the last 40, 50 shows that we recorded in the last year, and you're going to hear from guys who've dealt with depression, who've dealt with anxiety, who've dealt with hormonal issues, who've dealt with marriage issues. I mean, take your pick, and you can find all kinds of great stuff, and then listen for an hour or so, and hey, it's all right. This person came through it. This guy came through it. Yeah. I started to say all guys, but then we have had a couple ladies on the podcast, so I want to give, Carrie and the rest a little bit of TLC. But seriously, just go back and listen a little bit to any show over the last year, and you'll find some good stuff.
It's a good point. We didn't stop recording, so
nope.
The overall emotions were there. It was rough, man. It was rough. I mean, I consider myself very lucky. I'm blue collar. I've always been blue collar. Didn't make it much past high school, and I just happened to stumble across into a really, really good job that got me out of painting full time and into the service side. And I was lucky enough to where my job never stopped. I still had to travel for work. I still had to leave the house for work, but my job never stopped. But my owner made it extremely clear: you get up, you go to work, you do your job, and my promise to you is the paychecks won't stop. And that alone, takes so much weight off of your shoulders as being the leader of a household. So, for me, that was a blessing. And I just know I had to go out there and risk what I had to risk for the benefit of my family. Overall, I'm a pretty healthy dude. I wasn't scared. I respect that there's a virus out there. I do not fear that there's a virus out there. And went out and did my thing. And, it was a lot worse for a lot of people. And I'm going to hold my complaints for last year just based on the fact that I was able to keep my job and financially nothing changed. Obviously a lot of everything else changed, but as far as financials and the money that was coming into the household to keep us rolling, I was very, very lucky in the sense that didn't change.
Yeah. I'm much the same. And I think, Jim, was your job change mid? No, your job change was a little bit before.
My job change started in the fall of 2019.
That's right. So yeah, all three of us were very fortunate that we all had a steady job throughout this time, and that's not true for all of our listeners, all of our members, and so we absolutely respect and appreciate that there are folks out there that might have had a harder time through all of this than maybe we had, but whatever the situation was, we're seeing from our members that that you can win even in the midst of problems that we end up facing, whether they be financial or overall health, mental, physical, emotional. It doesn't matter. You can win, you can make it, and it's tough sometimes, but you can do it.
And I guess I would just add also the fact, and this is especially big kudos to Chris, who's the technology king of the group. If this pandemic had happened 10 years ago, technology wasn't nearly where we are today. Imagine not being able to video chat with friends on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Imagine not being able to have your kids really get a somewhat semblance of normal education with a teacher in front of them being on a screen, even working from home, but instead having to go to a school and picking up a packet wearing a hazmat suit and all that other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things. And then, what we've been able to do with this podcast, us getting together, bringing on one or two guests. Chris has set up some, live chats, video chats in our groups and things like that. I mean, just that ability to talk is so needed. I was telling somebody this yesterday. Went to my friend's house, the guy that lost his dad, and I said, the whole idea of company. Do you guys remember having company when you were kids? Where you would have family members or friends or whatever that would come over on Tuesday night at like 6:30 after you had dinner, and they just hang out for an hour, and kids would play in one room, and the adults would hang out in the living room and all that. Like, that doesn't happen anymore, even with COVID.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. You get a text or whatever, or you see people at a sporting event, but they're holding their phone in their hand and like ready to jump as soon as the tweet comes through or whatever. And it's like, put it down, just put it down and engage with the people around. So, but again, as I said, technology is pretty awesome that we can do a lot of things remotely when the situation doesn't allow to do it face to face.
Yep, absolutely.
Rant over.
It's all good. It's all good. My church family has always been that company that we would have. It would be a regular occurrence for my family to be the one that hosts like the worship / choir get-togethers, and my mom having the ability to cook for 50 to 75 people without really batting an eye, somehow factored into that. But she was the consummate the consummate host, and I miss a lot of that, especially this year.
There's one quick thing, and I'll send it to you guys later, but there's a comedian, his name's Sebastian Maniscalco, I think is how you pronounce it. That's not right, but he did this bit a year or two ago about company, and he's talking about when you were kids and come over and you'd have the Entenmann's cake, and mom would brew some Sanka and all this other stuff. And then now it's like, if your doorbell rings at 7:00 at night, everybody ducks down behind the couch and you're like, army crawl. And you like freak out because who's here? Why did they not text him? It's just a whole different thing. And it's freaking hysterical because it's totally true.
Yes. It is.
Just, you don't freak out when the doorbell rings. 20 years ago, now you're like, why is somebody? So,
I'm like, let me check my phone. Who's on my front door?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's it exactly. We have the Ring video doorbell, and so anytime, whether it's a package that I know is coming or a delivery or something, I'm not like going to my door to see who's there. I'm just pulling up my phone and opening up the Ring application to see what happened.
Come on, Chris, get your steps in, buddy. Come
on. Well, Lord knows I need them, considering that I don't work, outside the house, currently. I need to get that, get those steps in every way that I can. So yeah, we've had a pretty cool year of good, even in spite of all of the hardship and struggle that was going on in the world. And so it's very nice to be able to know that that's been the case for us. So that's really cool. Let's shift a little bit and let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now. And then we'll shift again towards looking to the future and try to cast a little bit of vision for some of the things that we're looking forward to as we go into, well, by the time this airs, for the next 11-ish months. So what all do we have? So currently that I can think of, we have a group of guys that's actively doing the carnivore keto cut. By this point, they will have reached week 5. And I'm in that group.
That's when things will be getting good.
Yeah, we're gonna be feeling it by then. I know I set myself up this time around much more aggressively on a caloric level than what I had done originally, just because I wanted to make sure this time around, with my not working out as often as I would like and need to, that I'm actually calorically hitting a deficit on a regular basis. And I'm not feeling it, but I also know that I'm right at that mark of, okay, I'm eating enough, right? And I'm just getting started. This is, the end of week 1 right now. So kind of interesting to see and recognize that for this time around. What else is going on that we've got going on? John's doing weekly live chats. Alberto, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was his idea. I don't want to, take too much away from the guy, but he just said, try to stave off a little loneliness and boredom at home, and for his own mental health, that he wanted our blessing to hop on the live chat. Mm-hmm. And just, he said, hey, it might just be me on there talking to myself, you watching me eat a steak. But I know David Blako and Jason Thompson have been regulars on with him. And it sounds like they're getting pretty good conversations and pretty good viewership in.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're using a new tool that allows us to kind of have a little more of an interactive experience with that. And hopefully we'll get to do some more of that as we go, because it's a pretty cool platform that we can do some pretty cool things with. I would probably use it more for podcasting if I got separate audio tracks from it, but I don't currently, and so because I'm picky, I'm not recording with that one. The other thing that's going on in that vein is we mentioned it before, but people are going to be starting to see video versions of our podcast that we're recording the video along with our audio on some of these episodes, and those are going to make it on our YouTube. And so links to our YouTube at theketomansclub.com, and you can check those out. And it's nice to have this other it's a slightly different feel of the conversation whenever you can actually see visually the interaction between the 3 or 4 or 5 or however many we're talking with in that conversation. So it's really cool to be able to get to do that. So we've got that. Jim, any other current projects? We don't have any merch out right now, but that's the merch sales have been good up to this point.
I think that we'll be doing some things as a group, the 3 of us, with some members and prospective members and things. More to come on that throughout the year. But, we're in, is this going to be year 5 of the club total? Did we start 15, I think? I need to go back and look and see. And so, things are continuing to grow and develop, and there's just a lot of good stuff right now. So 2017 is my cheat sheet, so we're coming up on 4 years. So hang tight on that. I don't want to get too far in depth with anything on that. So that was probably the worst potential tease of anything that could ever be done. Hey, think about this, but don't think about it. Never mind.
And don't ask us. We don't have any answers.
Yeah.
The truth is, Yeah, we've got some dreams definitely in mind right now for some really cool things, but they are just that. They're dreams. We don't have much of a plan behind it yet, but that's what we're working on right now. And as soon as we have some information, we're going to get it out to you guys.
I guess the one thing, though, I will say, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, was about a poll that I put up in the main group a day or two ago is, there is definitely there's definitely a lot of frustration with social media right now. Not necessarily our group or anything, but just the way of the world. And, I want people to know that we're hearing that. And, if there's something that we can do to help continue the story, to help reach out to more men and women as well, but Keto Man's Club, but just getting connected with folks and making sure that they've got resources to help them, then we're definitely going to see what we can do to make that happen. So more on that to come. But yeah, I think, like I said a little bit ago, and not to get soapboxy again, but just find our group. If you're a guy, answer a couple of very basic questions to get in either the intro group or the main group. And there's still great information in both. And just, tell us what's going on. Just taking 2 minutes to type out a couple things with your thumbs or on a keyboard and saying, here's where you're at in your journey and here's achieve, and can somebody help me with this? There's going to be somebody in our 4,000 members who's going to help you out, or you're going to get inspiration. So just find us and come in, and we'll do whatever we can.
Absolutely. I think that's a great call out. Now, to the first point, for those that are frustrated with and are wanting to get away from Facebook enough that they do want to discontinue use of Facebook in some form or fashion right now, or any social media platform for that matter, we have a non-social media platform that you can connect with us. We've got the link in the show notes, and it's our Discord server. This is more of a team chat type thing with topics that you can kind of get into. It's definitely different format. It feels like multiple continuous conversations is what it kind of feels like, just categorized and things like that. And so it's not posts that then people respond to, even though you can reply to someone's comment or what they've added to the Discord group. But it's while it's a different format, it's a very effective one. And so that one is kind of our backup. If anything was to ever happen to the Facebook group for some reason, that's knocking on wood hard right there. But say if that's kind of our current backup plan. So find the link to the Discord to come over there. We'll have news for you, whatever that may be. But we're hoping that most of the, at least I'm hoping that most of the stress and strife and frustration with some of our social media platforms will start to drop off little by little here by the time that this airs.
Amen.
Yeah, that would be good. In the next 2 or 3 weeks from right now. It's just a lot of things going on. So go ahead.
So busy is good.
Busy is good. Yeah. So we can probably start wrapping up a little bit at this point. It's been 50 minutes or so right now. What other things we alluded to the thing that we can't talk about, the thing that shall not be spoken about. So what the thing that shall not be named. There we go.
There you
go. What other things can we talk about that we can look forward to? We've got the weekly talk, which John, that I think is going to go on for quite a while. Weekly podcasts with almost potentially a very regular video version of that, as long as I can get the workflow down and it doesn't take me all day to edit like one of them did yesterday. And then and things like that. What other things have we not talked about so far?
I guess the one thing that I would throw in is that we've got a number of channels excuse me, for our listeners, our followers, to reach back to us and let us know what their needs are. We've talked about the groups extensively here tonight and every podcast, but if you've got a topic, if you've got an author, if you've got something specific to your story that you think we need to address or whatever, send us an email, hit us up in the podcast page, hit us up on Instagram. I mean, any of those ways. We've got our telephone number, leave us a voicemail, whatever the case may be. Because I think we do a really good job between the three of us and the rest of the moderation team and the groups to pull together topics and insights and things. And if we're missing something, let us know. I mean, we're glad to hear from you and take in any suggestions and ideas for sure.
Absolutely. That's a great call out. We would love to get you we would love to hear from you what you want to hear from the podcast. So whether you leave it in a review, which helps the engine to put us in front of more people, or send us an email or a message, we would love to hear and see what you're interested in having us cover, dive deeper into. The three of us, I don't think any one of us claims to know everything, but I can honestly say that between the three of us, we probably can make connection or have connections already to the people who might be able to answer those questions. Me and Berto are lucky enough that we are relatively directly connected to some of the larger names in the ketogenic community. So the truth is, we send a text or a phone call to one or two people, then they have those connections to the other people, and more than likely we'll be able to connect with whoever it is that can speak with authority on whatever it is that you're interested in. So please reach out and let us know what you're interested in, because we want to, while this is our podcast, it's kind of our fun thing that we do on a weekly basis. I know that I've gotten a ton of satisfaction, enjoyment, and fulfillment in getting to help host these conversations along with Jim and Berto. This isn't our podcast. This is the podcast for our listeners out there. So we would love to share. So Berto, what you said that you had something else going that you were thinking about?
Yeah, just one quack list. One quick last little note. Want to say happy birthday to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Dad had his 71st birthday on January 8th, so a couple days ago from when we're recording. And you've heard me talk about his previous health struggles and how he's able to turn it around and do his thing. So I just want to tell my dad that I love him and happy birthday.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy birthday to Berto's dad. That's awesome. Okay. So yeah, we've covered a lot of stuff. So that's the good news. That's the good news for sure. And I think that while it's been kind of rambling and whatnot, I think that it's good for us just to hang out and talk amongst ourselves a bit. Let's go ahead and start winding this up. A reminder again, we've mentioned it over and over and over again this episode, so I won't belabor it too much, but theketomansclub.com. Also email at ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com, or text and voicemail at 512-518-6161. All of those are great ways to reach out to us, to get connected with us. We're monitoring those pretty tightly, so we very rarely miss anything. So feel free to to reach out. Expect that we'll get back to you in a timely manner. All of that. Well, it's been another great conversation. I think that covers everything. So until next week, make sure to eat meat, lift heavy, sleep, and repeat. Thank you for joining us for the Keto Man's Club podcast. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Would you help us spread the word about the Keto Man's Club by sharing with your friends and family? We're available on all podcast platforms, so just search for Keto Man's Club and you'll find us. If you would like to connect with us, you can do so a number of ways. Our web address leads to our Facebook group, theketomansclub.com. That's TheKetoMansClub.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Keto Man's Club Podcast. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out via email to ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week.